Okay, I have another question. So, when you talk about isolation, you also have to talk about that feeling of anxiety that comes with it, that feeling of being alone, that feeling of stress that sometimes accompanies the isolation. Where do you think that anxiety comes from? And what do you think is the best approach for handling it?
I think the anxiety comes from, for one, being uncomfortable, for two, stepping outside your normal day to day things, because we're constantly in our head. We're constantly in our head, and being a people pleaser, you care what people think, and so you're constantly thinking, what are they saying? When that phone is ringing, when you're getting those texts and people are telling you, let's go here or let's go do those things, God may tell you don't respond, or you may have to tell them no. And so in your head, you're like, what are they going to think about me? What are others saying about me? And so then you go through this thing internally, and you start thinking, who am I? Who am I? And why is God calling me to this? And then if you're on social media, then you start seeing posts, you start seeing them out doing things, celebrating things, and you're not a part of it. And then pretty soon, God just wipes them out. They're not calling, they're not texting. And in the meantime, you're going through so much because when God takes you through that healing journey, when God starts to truly reveal who He's calling you to be, when God starts having you sit through that trauma, through that pain, you don't have a lifeline. You don't have a lifeline that's a person. And you're used to, hey, I want to call this person. I want to tell them all about it. I want to tell them what I'm going through. You don't have anybody to call. But what you do have is God. That's what you do have. And it's easier said than done. We sit there and we think, okay, we have God. That should be enough. But when that's not what you're used to, that causes a lot of frustration. That causes depression. Because sometimes, realistically, even though we're in isolation, we long for physical conversations in the physical. We long for that physical touch. We long for it. And sometimes we long for it, and the people that we've been venting to, they really don't care. But deep down inside, we don't really, we know it. We know we're venting to an empty vessel. But sometimes we just want to be heard. And so it's really a mourning. You are mourning, you are grieving your old self because God is having you step into something else. And you're grieving your old self. And that grieving your old self, that comes with anxiety. That comes with depression. Because then you start to see that the people you thought were going to be there, no, no. And you got to sit with that. You got to sit with that. You got to sit with what your new norm looks like. And the new norm is uncomfortable. It can be. Most likely it will be until you get used to it. It's a lot of things that we're just not used to. And when we're not used to things, when we're uncomfortable, that's when our mind starts racing. Anxiety is nothing more than, at its simplest form, is thinking too much ahead and thinking too much in the past, not living in the present. And we all can be guilty of that. But there are extreme forms. And we're yearning. We're yearning for that family. We're yearning for those friends, even though they may not, they're just not good for us. But that's all that you know. And that's painful. And that's painful. It's not easy. It's not easy. But what I can tell you is that isolation, it helps you build that relationship with God. Not that kind of relationship that your grandma told you about, that your friends told you about, that the pastor told you about. I'm talking about that relationship to where it's just you and him. It's just you and him building. And you know it for yourself, not for what somebody else told you. You know it for yourself, who your God is and what God has brought you from and where God is bringing you to. So yes, that anxiety is no joke. Yes, that depression is no joke. But what I'm here to tell you is God to bring you through it every step of the way. God will bring you through it every step of the way. Stay obedient. Be kind to yourself. Feel what you need to feel, good people. Feel what you need to feel. Okay? So I just want to say, I have this book. I have How I Found God in My Darkest Hour. I also have courses. I also have another book, How God Taught Me How to Love Myself. I have another one, How to Heal That Inner Child. And these are all things that I wrote while God had me in isolation. And the tools that God has given me, the resources that God has given me, I am sharing them with you guys. I stand here today as a new woman, reborn under God. And that could not have happened if it wasn't for isolation. So I don't want you guys to fear isolation. While you going through it, yes, it's a storm, but I'm here to show you, I'm here as proof that there is sun after the rain and that there is victory following God. You can move from being a victim to being victorious under God. It's possible, good people. But it starts right here with your heart, giving God your heart and having that faith. Take care. Good day, good people.